Okay, so let's get started. What we'd like to do is play with the camera and manipulate it so that it stays in front of one of these non-player characters. We'd like to have it right in front of their head. We'd like to have it steady, and it should be there regardless of which direction they're going into. As it is by default, the camera is with the player, and we can change this. It just requires a little bit of um, knowledge of the API. So we're going to start out. First of all, I'll describe the scene here. We have this lovely character here, Susan. She's going to run from one block here, and then she's going to run to this block here. This is point A, and this is point B. So I programmed here already to run. How does it look now? You'll see that she will now take off. She's so lovely. And now she's going to take a turn here, and she's going to go off to the second block here, and then she's finished. Okay. So how can I manipulate the camera so it's right in front of her? For camera scripts, they would go in here under starter player, and then you have starter character scripts. We're going to add a local script because this is not going to execute in the server. It's going to execute locally here. And I'm going to start typing. I'm going to create some variables for convenience. I will first write one for the camera. And, oh, excuse me. First we want to get a reference to the camera here. So get workspace, current camera. Next we want to do something to the camera. The camera has something called a camera type. I want to set that to a specific value here. So we're going to, it's an enumeration. We have a few types here. It's called scriptable. That allows us to write a script for this camera. So those two variables have been set. I also would like to have another variable to locate this character. We're going to call her target, and we're going to find here for this demonstration by doing find first child, and her name is Susan. That's it. Okay, so there's one more thing down here now. Roblox has these tasks. One of them is the run service, and the run service has some nice methods like RenderStepped and heartbeat, and these things are callback functionality or methods for the that get fired for each frame. So I'll do this, and it is called RunService. Okay. The difference being is I think some of them are fired before the frame starts, some of them fired right after the frame is finished. I don't honestly remember which one's which. So we will construct a function here. Exactly. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is the camera has a CFrame, a coordinate frame, and I am going to attach it to Susan. I hope I have this correct here. Okay, so now what I'm attempting to do here is take the camera and I will attach it to her. Now let's play it and see what happens. Oh, what the heck did I do wrong here? Root. Sorry. It's called the humanoid root part. Okay, now let's try it. Still did something wrong here. Target humanoid root part. Ah, sorry. Excuse me. It's a property, not a function. Okay. So voila. Now, as you can see, we're kind of inside Susan right now. We've at least achieved to get the camera attached to her. So I want to go a step further here. And what I'd like to do is this. I'm going to add one more line here. And so position. You can tell the camera to point in a certain direction. I'm going to tell it to target. Let's do this. Let's target her head. So the camera will now be at this position, and it's going to be pointing at her head. There's something else I want to do here as well, which is I'm going to create an offset, which is very important. CFrame.new. Okay. I did my homework ahead of time, so I already know what the values are to get a good offset here, or a somewhat an offset. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add this offset. Actually, I'll just add it here. Okay. Okay. So this camera, I'm going to take the coordinates where it is, which is right inside of Susan, and then I'm going to offset it by these coordinates here. And then I'm going to tell the camera to point towards her head. So now let's see what it looks like. There you go. Look at that. So it looks even better now. Now we have an issue. And this is why I have her go from point A to point B. The camera is no longer in front of her, it's actually to the side of her. And that's actually the whole gist of this video, is that we have to consider the frame of reference when doing this. And the whole time is the CFrame, by default, it's using the world origin. And when we're having an offset, we really want an offset from a local origin to Susan. And they provide, Roblox, a nice method for taking care of this. I'm going to keep this vector here, and I'm going to create another variable here. Let's call it offsetCFrame. Okay, CFrame.new. And we'll just instantiate it with this vector here. Okay. So check this out. I'm going to do this instead. I'm going to call this function here. I hope I'm doing this correctly. And then I will put the offset here. There we go. Yeah. Okay. Now let's try it. Oh. What in God's name? I can tell you what's wrong here. I have to adjust it. Now the whole frame of reference is different. Okay, I hope I'm correct here. Now let's try it. Oh God, what the heck is wrong with me? Okay, I put a dot there. I'm doing this in the dark right now a little bit. Okay, so now check it out. Now the camera's in front of her. She's gonna go to point. Oh, look, it stayed right in front of her. Isn't that beautiful? Works like a charm. The gist is here is this method. When you say ToWorldSpace, it assumes it uh, we're taking an offset that's actually relative to her, and now they're going to adjust it to ToWorldSpace, and it solves our problem. I'm going to after this, I'm going to try to demonstrate or at least describe this in a silly uh, presentation, what the difference is using this ToWorldSpace and the approach before, why it wasn't working. Okay, so this is an attempt to explain how to optimize the camera offset via scripting using an offset. And in the first diagram, we're just adding, we have the camera frame is equal to the NPC frame plus this offset. And the CFrame uses as a reference, or the origin is the world origin. And that's somewhere located at a fixed point. And so I've figured out that, like, when she goes in the Z direction, it's going to move along the camera also in the Z direction, because this offset on the Z coordinate, I'm always adding 10. Now she's going to rotate. Now she's going to walk along the x-axis, and we're still adding 10 to the z, but 0 to the other two. This offset is constant, but her coordinates are always changing, and it's relative always to this world origin, so the camera gets left behind. This method ToWorldSpace is a great helper method in that it takes as an argument a coordinate frame which is relative to an origin to the part, or the coordinate frame that is being added to. So it considers this offset coming in to be the offset relative to this part here, and the z-axis is always going to be the z-axis from this part. She rotates. She's going to go now along this direction, but the origin has not changed. It returns back a C-frame that is relative to the world origin. And so the camera's always, in terms of placement, it'll always be correct. So it works out fantastic, and that's the main point, actually, of the video.